spent on the U.S. military over the next fiscal year. Among the bill's many provisions is Section 224, entitled the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. The provision would bring the U.S. and Israel into an unprecedented partnership covering technology sharing, the co-production of weapon systems, and bilateral research and development across multiple domains of warfare, including biotech, autonomous systems, AI, cyber warfare, and more. Well, this could just mean that we're employing technology that they have, right? Is there any more specifics about this?
It looks closer than that. I'll tell you what, if
and I'm not saying it isn't. Look, it definitely scares me. I mean, I don't want to be involved with a country that's doing something like that. And I don't think that's crazy for me to say that either.
Even if it's just this, that means they're not going to have to steal the 2% of defense technology that we don't give them. I'll give you an example. When I was still there, we were developing the F-35. So they came to us and they said, we want the F-35. We want to be the first ones to have the F-35. We said, great, we're going to give you the F-35. We're going to call it the F-35I for Israel. And it's going to have just a barely, slightly degraded avionics system, just in case, God forbid, it doesn't get shot down and then the Chinese and the Russians get it and then they can steal the avionics. They said, no, not good enough. We want the F-35, the same one that you guys fly. In the meantime, the Emirates came to us and they said, we want the F-35. We said, great, we're going to give you the F-35E, we're going to call it, for Emirates, and it's going to have just a slightly degraded avionics package. Same thing we're giving the Israelis. They said, fine, we'll take it. The Israelis then tasked their spies with stealing whatever the downgrade was in the avionics so that they could re-upgrade it once they took delivery of the F-35. Well, now we're just going to share everything with them. We'll just give them the F-35.
But can you fault a country? Like, it's kind of interesting because I think if you think that we're playing like that, I guess I always felt like we were out of the colonization era.
I know, I'm with you.
And
I know what you're getting at.
And so it's like, you can't fault a country really for just trying to survive.
I don't.
Right? And I'm not saying you are. I'm thinking out loud. But let me finish the sentence real quick.
Sure.
Sorry, John.
But
yeah, you can't if a country's just trying to survive and they're good at it and better at it than others, then it's like that has to be respected in some senses for sure.
Agreed. I don't fault the Israelis for doing this. If I were the Prime Minister of Israel, I would do the same thing when it comes to acquiring defense technology. I fault the U.S. government, and it makes not one whit of difference if there's a Democrat in the White House or a Republican in the White House. We don't stand up to the Israelis.
Yeah.
I will say Reagan did in the so-called Year of the Spy when Jonathan Pollard was, no, actually it wasn't Reagan by then. It was Clinton, wasn't it? Clinton stood up and said, we're going to prosecute this guy, Pollard. He got 30 years, and he did every single day of the 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Peaked in 84.
Jonathan
so
Pollard.
when was he arrested? 85. Okay, so it was Reagan. It was Reagan. He did every single day of the 30 years. And then when he got out of prison, Miriam Adelson, or not Miriam Adelson, her husband, it was, what's his name? Adelson. The king of Las Vegas, sent his private jet. The jet took Pollard to Israel. Netanyahu met him at the airport. He kissed the ground. And in an interview, Sheldon Adelson, in an interview, he urged American Jews to take up arms against the American government. And then Huckabee meets with him and welcomes him into the American embassy. I would have shot him if he had come into the American embassy and I were the ambassador.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I think it makes it like, I don't know. I think a lot of people are looking for guidance right now.
I think you're right.
If you're a regular person who we're just trying to get through the week, we want to believe in our country, we get scared that our taxes are going towards like violent things and evil things. That's the thing. It starts to feel like there's something evil going on.
Yeah, and it's not like we're right and everybody else in the rest of the world is wrong. You look at these votes.
I don't know if I'm right about anything.
You look at these votes at the UN General Assembly, and it's everybody in the world voting yes, and voting no is the United States. I'm serious about this because I served at the UN. It's the United States, Israel, Costa Rica, and Palau, a little island with 30,000 people in the Pacific. That's it. And the whole rest of the world is voting the other way.
You've talked to like you've worked in counterterrorism.
Mm-hmm.
Is it weird? Like terrorism's such an interesting term because it's like at a certain point, it feels like we're chasing the tail of the dog we let loose. Kind of. Does that make any
Yeah.
sense? Even.
Yeah, I like that. I might steal that.
Yeah, steal it. I don't
Yeah.
even know exactly what it means, but you know, they just had I saw something the other day. It was like $300 billion to rebuild parts of. I don't think it's Iran, but I think it's Libya. Can you look that up? 300 billion to rebuild parts of Libya
That we
we
blew
just
up.
that we just blew up.
Yeah, yeah.
So right here, it says a truce, $300 billion investment plan in Hormuz. What's in the deal draft that can end U.S.-Iran war? U.S. and Iran mediators are now engaged in high-stakes negotiations aimed at ending the conflict despite a fragile ceasefire in the place and months of turmoil in the Middle East. The possible truce plan includes key bargaining points between the two sides, including a $300 billion investment package and the crucial Strait of Hormuz issue, making the agreement extremely closely watched for. However, one of the biggest developments emerging from the discussions is a proposed multi-billion-dollar reconstruction and investment package that could fundamentally reshape Iran's economy if a final deal is reached. So it's just why it's like we just went there and got involved in this. I don't know if this is a taxpayer thing,
God, I hope not.
but just the whole thing is like, I don't know. You start to feel so defeated sometimes.
Yeah. Isn't
and
that
then-
the truth?
And you start to feel like your vote isn't going to do anything.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
scary part. And then part of this feels like a long-term psyop. Like it's a slow weakening of the values. Like, okay, let's put things in this society over time that'll like, you know, tear apart the American family and like that'll like poison
Right.
people. And do you think there's big psyops like that going on? Like, let's put COVID out there so that people are separate from each other and that people can't go to meetings and meet up. And so you start to deteriorate the value of human connection. And let's make food so that it's just poisoning people and that it's, you know, that it's just going to, you know, it's going to make people sicker. Let's make healthcare so there's no real way besides extreme stress that you have to go through if you even have to make a claim. Like, you know, do you think that some of that is just corporate greed and stuff? Or do you think some of that's a longer term psyop by like bigger powers out there?
I don't think it's a part of a bigger psyop.
Okay.
But I do
Good.
believe firmly that it's mostly corporate greed. You just reminded me of something excuse me, I saw recently. And it was this experiment that, I don't know, somebody did. I saw it on YouTube where they put a homemade hamburger on the ground and they put a McDonald's quarter pounder on the ground and then they photographed it, you know, over the course of days and then weeks and then months. Bugs come, ants come, they go to the hamburger, they tear the bun down. Mostly they went for the meat, but they end up, you know, a week later it's just a spot on the sidewalk. Even bugs won't touch a McDonald's hamburger. And then months later, it looks like it just came out of the package.
Yeah.
And Europeans can't understand how we eat like that.
Yeah.
Like their laws are different. McDonald's can't do that in European countries.
Yeah. Let's look at the ingredients right here. The difference between McDonald's Europe and McDonald's America.
10 plus ingredients versus 4 ingredients.
Wow. So the U.S. has 10 plus ingredients, and yeah, Europe has 4 ingredients in the U.S. Potatoes, vegetable oil, hydrogenated soybean oil, natural beef flavor, wheat and milk derivatives, dextrose, sodium acid, pyrophosphate, and salt.
Pyrophosphate.
Pyrophosphate, thank you. And then Europe has potatoes, non-hydrogenated oil, rapeseed or sunflower, and dextrose.
And look below that.
And those are in-
contains hydrogenated oils, beef flavoring, and TBHQ, which are banned, restricted in EU.
These are for the French fries. It says contains hydrogenated oils, beef flavoring, TBHQ. And then it says for Europe that those exactly things are banned and restricted in the EU. What about the burger? Yeah, what does it say? The U.S. beef is 100% pure beef. The additives, several hundred additives,
several hundred additives.
Prohibited in EU. And let me see. Europe says 100% beef from British Irish farmers, no hormone treated beef. And then the additives are stricter quality control and fewer additives.
Look at the Big Mac sauce. The special sauce on the Big Mac contains HFCS, xanthan gum, propylene glycol alginate, and caramel color.
What the fuck? Why? I just like at some point you have to be like, well, what happened? You know? And while the Europe Big Mac sauce contains simpler ingredients list and 40 fewer calories, it says. The differences are EU food regulations are much stricter. Customer preferences and local supply chains vary. And the U.S. fries would likely be illegal to sell in Europe due to ingredient restrictions.
Have you ever seen what's in the McRib? I tell you what, I loved those McRibs.
Well, the black community goes bonkers when they come back.
God,
I know that.
You rush to McDonald's for a McRib, but then when you see what's in it, you're like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, dude. Anybody thinking it has anything to do with a fucking animal, the McRib? But at a certain point, we are also guilty.
Yeah, we are.
It's like,
It's our own laziness.
It is.
And we give in and we just go do it.
That's a big part of it. So that's what's interesting too right now. It's like there's a real test of like, what do I, how much do I want to stand up for myself? But then also, how much can I? Some people are trapped financially by certain abilities and restrictions.
There are food deserts.
Yeah. So it's just kind of interesting and it's tough. And I don't want to get all super dour. Do you feel like there are a lot of foreign agents in America right now?
Oh, yeah. In fact, there's an advertisement that you see on the sides of buses around Washington saying that, and it's the advertisement is to visit the Spy Museum, that there are between 10 and 15,000 foreign intelligence officers in Washington, D.C.
In Washington, D.C.?
More than anywhere else on the planet.
Wow. Do you think that's real?
There's a spy on this bus.
Oh, that's what that advertisement says?
It's part of the... Thank you, Edward Snowden. It's part of the advertising campaign. Yeah.
And is the campaign to what, to hire more of them?
No, to get people to go to the Spy Museum.
Oh, it's to get them to go to the Spy Museum. Dude, I've been in the Spy Museum before. It's awesome.
It's great.
Spy Museum's so good.
Yeah, it's really great. I agree.
Times were different back in the day when it was like, you'd like be like using a secret pen or like you'd have a homing pigeon with like a little backpack on.
No, now it's all so crazy sophisticated. I was just telling somebody the other day about the CIA trained cats to wander onto the Soviet embassy compound with collars that had listening devices on them just to see what the Russians were saying when they come out of the embassy. But that didn't work because you can't train the cats. So they trained pigeons and they put little listening devices around their little pigeon feet. And they would land on the windowsills. But the thing is that the Russians had double pane glass and they were piping music in between the two panes of glass. So the pigeons couldn't hear anything.
No way. What a game, what a game of espionage, huh?
So much fun.
See, that kind of stuff is so exciting. Now it feels like, I don't know, it feels like we're entering sometimes like a surveillance state or.
We are. It's not like the old days. One of the best recruitments I ever made, Theo. I was doing surveillance on this guy for a week. I thought, this guy would be an interesting target. He doesn't make much money.
Oh, you were doing surveillance on a guy?
On a guy.
And what does that mean you're doing surveillance? You're wandering around in the distance?
Yes, that's exactly what it means. Yeah,
Okay.
you're just wandering around the distance. Watch him every day, see where he goes, what he does, where he hangs out, who he talks to. His wife had left him. But I noticed he walked his dog every morning at 6:30.
Dang.
Every morning he'd leave the house at 6:30 and he would walk across the park. The dog would do his business and then he'd walk back. So I asked in the office, I said, hey, does anybody have a dog? And one of the women's like, yeah, I have a dog. I said, can I borrow your dog for a week? She says, for what? I said, I want to accidentally bump into this guy. And while he's walking his dog, I want to walk your dog. And then I meet him and I'm going to say hello. And then the next day I'm going to say hello again. Then the third day I'm going to invite him to lunch and whatever. It was the best recruitment I ever made in my entire career. And we bonded over the dogs. And it wasn't even my dog. At the end of the week, I just gave her dog back.
And did you learn something from the guy?
Oh, my God. This guy was like every case officer's dream recruitment.
And what recruitment means somebody that you're trying to gain intel from.
The person you pitch him. You say, look, I'm with the CIA.
Oh, you told him that.
Oh yeah, I'm with the CIA. I know who you are. I know what you do, and I'm willing to pay you very handsomely to give it to me. And he's like, how handsome? He is handsome. And I,
Ding dong, it's Realtor.com time.
Honey, Mortgage Bunny 6 says we should keep renting.
Mortgage Money 6?
I gave him a number.
What's that number ballpark?
Well, this is 25 years ago, and then it was $5,000 a month. It would probably be $20,000 a month now. And
Good money.
and he wanted all of his expenses. I said, what expenses do you think you're going to have?
Yeah. What,
said-
dog shots for the dog?
I know, right? So, he nickel and dimed me with expenses.
Oh.
And my boss would always say, just give it to him. Just give it to him. Because the information was so great. So we
Like
had these
information about what?
his country.
Oh,
He
okay.
worked in the embassy
Got it.
of his country. And I gave him a disposable cell phone. And back then, you had to buy these little cards at the convenience store, and you scratch them off, and you put the number in your phone, and it gives you
Oh, yeah.
units, you
I
know?
remember that.
And so the phone was only supposed to be used to call me. He used it for everything. He'd give me like $800 phone bills at the end of the month. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on.
That's
Give
awesome.
you $5,000 already.
That dude's a friggin' snake. I love that.
Yeah. My boss just pay it. Just pay it.
Acoustic Kitty.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's
Acoustic Kitty was a Central Intelligence Agency project launched by the Directorate of Science and Technology in the 1960s. It was intended to use cats to spy on the Kremlin and Soviet embassies. In an hour-long procedure, a veterinary surgeon implanted a microphone in the cat's ear canal, a small radio transmitter at the base of its skull, dear God, and a thin wire into its fur. This would allow the cat to innocuously record and transmit sound from its surroundings. Due to problems with distraction, the cat's sense of hunger
It sees a bird.
had to be addressed in another operation. Yeah.
$20 million.
$20 million, dude. And that's your Somali fraud right there. The first Acoustic Kitty mission was to eavesdrop on two men in a park outside the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C. The cat was released nearby, but was hit and allegedly killed by a taxi almost immediately. However, this was disputed. The equipment was taken out of the cat. The cat was re-sewn for a second time and lived a long and happy life afterwards. That sounds like a cover-up.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah. Just a cat that has call waiting, you know? That's a fucking insane, dude.
I worked with this one guy who was going to a denied area. A denied area is a place where CIA people just can't go, right? But he looked kind of ethnic and he could fit into, whatever, the culture. And so I said, buddy, aren't you afraid of like being kidnapped and then we just never see you again? And he said, yeah, they offered to implant a chip, a beacon, a ping in my butt crack, he says. And I said, nah, leave my butt crack alone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. I think that should be our national anthem. How weary do people have to be of being spied upon today? Do you think like there's a lot of these new like data center projects
God.
and stuff like that's going on with that? First, let's talk, real quick about the data centers. What do you think is really going on? Because if you look at the size of these places, like we don't need that much data. Like we're already using our phones. We already have like televisions, like that. There's already like a lot of stuff being stored on servers. How are we jumping to a level where we need that? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I have to agree. And besides the fact that they use massive amounts of water, and oddly enough, they're located in a lot of states that don't have a ton of water, like Texas.
Yeah.
Or you go out to Loudoun County, Virginia. Okay, we have enough water. But Loudoun County, Virginia, you drive for miles and miles, and they're just these never-ending, gigantic complexes of data centers.
The proposed Stratos project in Utah is a massive 40,000
There's no
acre,
water in Utah.
a 40,000 acre AI data center campus.
2.5 times larger than Manhattan.
Yeah. I wonder how long the actual data, how big
Oh,
the,
and just the data center requires more than double the current energy consumption of the entire state of Utah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, that's unbelievable. What do you think's really going on there? Do you have
Well,
any intel about it?
You have to assume that this is Intel related, because look at the companies that are involved. We're talking about Palantir and NVIDIA and Abraxas and all these big companies that either took CIA investments to get started as seed money, or are staffed by retired senior CIA officers. They're not doing it for their health.
Why is is the CIA now is spying on our own people?
Oh yeah, that's what Ed Snowden warned us about. Yeah, without Ed Snowden's revelations, we wouldn't have any idea that NSA and CIA were spying on Americans, which is not just illegal, it's a part of NSA's charter that it may not spy on Americans. And this place in Utah, he and Julian Assange told us about Utah. This new compound in Utah that NSA has built has enough memory, storage space for every phone call, every email, and every text message from every American for the next 500 years. Wow. Why?
Just that building?
Uh-huh.
Then why do they need all these buildings?
Yeah, why? They're everywhere. What are they collecting?
I'm not sure. And that's it. It's like, what? It must be, it's got to be all of our information. What would you do right now? Is there any way that people can protect themselves? Do you know?
It's almost impossible now. I wrote a series of books during COVID for Skyhorse Publishing, the CIA Insider's Guides to Surveillance and Surveillance Detection, Lying and Lie Detection, and Disappearing and Living Off the Grid. They put them together, and they're republishing them in the next month, I guess, as one volume, CIA Skills, Tactics, and the Ultimate Guide to CIA Skills, Tactics, and Techniques.
There we go.
But when it comes to protecting yourself from the data state, you got to go Eric Rudolph or Unabomber and just own no technology at all. It's the only way to protect yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be scooped up in all this. Now, the odd thing is, according to Ed Snowden, NSA, CIA, other governmental organizations are scooping up all this data, and they're just holding it. Why? Why are they holding it? Now, time was really until the immediate post 9/11 period, where if the government wanted your information, they had to go to a federal judge and say, we want Theo Von's information, and this is the reason we want it. And the judge had to say, okay, that's a legitimate reason, I'll sign the warrant. Now, they just write something called a national security letter. They give it to your provider, and they say, give us everything you have on Theo Von, and they just turn it over. Or they go to these new data centers and just put your name in, your information, and everything pops up. You don't have any legal protections. They just take whatever they want.
And that's legal now? They can do that?
And it's legal now.
How'd that become legal?
In the National Defense Act of 2016. National Defense Authorization Act of 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. Which also, this is a pet peeve of mine that nobody knows about. It also, for the first time in American history, allowed the American government to propagandize the American people. It was always illegal for our government to propagandize us.
What does it mean?
Well, for example, the Voice of America, that's our government's propaganda news outlet. And we beam it overseas so everybody gets the official U.S. point of view. Okay. Back in the 80s, the Reagan administration came up with these two broadcasters called Radio Marti and TV Marti to beam at Cuba. The Cubans try to jam them all the time, but what they mostly are used for is to broadcast baseball games in Spanish, which the Cubans love. I flew down to Cuba to do a study. I did a study for the Senate Foreign Relations Committee when I was the chief investigator there. And nobody watches TV Marti. You can only actually get it in the waiting room of the U.S. consulate. So if you're there to apply for a visa, you can watch a soap opera in Spanish that's American propaganda. Nobody cares. Radio, people like listening to baseball. So Dish Network, when it began selling services in Florida, found that there was this just narrow swath along the shore on the west coast of Florida where you could pick up TV Marti. That's illegal. You can't propagandize the American people.
Got it.
As Americans, we're not allowed to watch our own government's propaganda. So instead of telling Dish Network, well, you're going to have to like move your satellite or do something or pixelate it or whatever. So no, we'll change the law. And so in the National Defense Authorization Act of 2016, the Obama administration said, no, we can propagandize Americans now.
Wow.
And so now radio, TV are no problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're always propagandizing. I mean, people
Oh,
put
yeah,
out propaganda
yeah.
all
We
the
are.
time.
Yeah. I went to Yemen in 2011 when I was with the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. My 5th trip to Yemen. Every time I'd go to Yemen, it's worse than the previous time. So I have a meeting with the defense attaché, and he was so proud of this thing that he was doing, this PSYOP. I hate that word. PSYOP. I said, sure, what's your PSYOP? And he goes, we're funding a radio station here, modeled on NPR, and plays American jazz. And then there's a call show, so young Yemeni guys can call in and talk about the jazz. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is terrible idea. Who's gonna listen to that? Nobody would. They'd shut it down after a year.
But that's what we're doing? What was the goal?
To make people pro-American, because they would be like, oh, the Americans have jazz.
Oh, I see
So
what
I'm
you're
going to be pro-American now. It's like, what are you
bizarre.
thinking? You sit there
That sounds
and
like
think.
money laundering.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what it sounds like. How do I know I can believe you about anything, kind of? People ask you that all the time?
Oh yeah, people ask me all the time.
Because who would believe anybody that's at CIA?
Oh, that's such a thing with me. You know, generally I don't read the chats. Anywhere. Everybody I talk to, at your level, you, Tucker Carlson, you know, Patrick Bet David, Rogan, whomever, they never read the chats. Sometimes I can't help it, and I'll scan. The only time I ever respond is when people say, once CIA, always CIA.
Yeah.
Moron, you thought of all of that all up on your own, huh?
That's true. That's true.
So I said to one guy, I said, you know what? Let me call Ed Snowden and the sons of Philip Agee and Ray McGovern and tell them that you think they're all still in the CIA. So I went to prison for telling the truth, and
That's a
I
good
would
point.
I would do it again in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Nobody else is going to prison for rat with the CIA and its illegal programs. I was proud to do it.
That's a good answer.
Thank you.
That's a really good answer. If you look at here it is, and I can say this: if you really went to jail and everything, then it's a great answer. And if you
I was
did
there.
it, I believe you. I believe you. But also, there's a little part of me that's like, if he didn't, then that's fucking even colder.
Oh, no,
that he's
listen.
making it up and living it.
Nobody-
That's the most CIA
No,
shit.
that would be pretty intense.
But that's what I'm saying.
yeah. No, nobody in the world hates me as much as my ex-wife does.
From spending all that time in the CIA or in jail. At least jail, you have a good
It
excuse.
came after, but she came every month with the kids and visited me in jail for 2 years. Yeah.
And so why does she hate you then?
Oh, no, that's all
Another
post.
story.
Yeah. I'm actually prohibited by court order from answering that
Got
question.
it. Well, I think that's amazing that she did that and
She
brought
did.
your
It was
kids to do
wonderful.
it.
She was great. She was great.
A lot of wives. I mean, I think I can't even imagine it's a tough thing for families, especially if you had young children. Kudos to her for that.
Yeah.
Was being in prison kind of fun?
Fun. No, I wouldn't say fun.
Like, what was kind of cool about it? I've always wanted to go to jail.
You know, there's this old saying that you don't go to jail to make friends, and I made some lifelong friends in jail. Mostly named Gambino, Lucchese, Bonanno,
Okay.
Genovese.
So a lot of good storytellers in there, I bet.
Listen, those guys were so honorable. I learned so much from those guys in just 23 months.
Wow.
Lessons I'll carry with me forever. Real honor. It's funny, the Italians were the smallest. They call them gangs in prison. The Italians weren't a gang. I'll use the word gang just for the purpose of this response. They were the smallest gang in the prison, yet commanded the highest level of respect.
Really? More than the blacks and the Latinos?
The blacks and the Latinos were always at each other's throats,
Right.
and they had, like, for example, it was Crips and Bloods, And there was this uneasy peace between them just because it's not worth upsetting the apple cart. And everybody goes to solitary and gets spread out all over the country. For the Latinos, it was far more complicated because it was Huachos, Norteños, Latin Kings, MS-13, Mexican Mafia, and then the individual cartels. So overall, there's one gigantic Hispanic prison gang called Pisces. And then within Pisces are all the different divisions.
God.
Yeah, and the Pisces, if you were Hispanic, you were automatically in Pisces whether you liked it or not. And you had to work out every single day
Oh, that's pretty good.
for the coming race war with the blacks. Right. And the whites are like, we have nothing to do with this.
Yeah. I would just want to do it just to get in shape. Bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need motivation.
We had Aryan Brotherhood.
What's that? What are they doing? What are they up to?
You know, Aryan Brotherhood of Texas is far more violent than Aryan Brotherhood, and they're not, it says there right there, they're not connected. I never met anybody from the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. Aryan Brotherhood at a low security prison just wants to sort of go along together. Yeah. You stay out of my way, I'll stay out of yours. My very first day in prison, my very first hour in prison, when the guard dropped me off in my cell, the only thing he said to me the whole time I was checking in and getting processed was, if somebody comes into your cell uninvited, that's an act of aggression. And I said, great, thank you. I've been here 40 minutes. Sure enough, as soon as he left, these two guys walked into my cell, just walked right in. One of them had a swastika, took his entire neck, and then came up onto his face. And the other had "fuck you" tattooed on his eyelids.
Oh, yeah. That's I mean, that's, yeah.
And so I jump up, I go, what do you want? Because I thought, you know, if I'm going down, I'm taking one of them down with me at least. What do you want? And the one with the swastika says, you the new guy? I go, yeah, so?
This sounds like a story from like the 1940s, John.
I said in my second book, prison was a combination of 7th grade, the Lord of the Flies, and a mental institution.
Amen.
And it's set in the 1950s.
That's hilarious.
So I go, what do you want? He goes, you the new guy? I said, yeah, so? And he goes, I'm standing there like this. He goes, you a f***? I go, no, I'm not a f***. He says,
And they were bummed out?
you a rat? No gays allowed. You a rat? I said, no, I'm not a rat. You a chomo? I go, I don't know what that word means. He goes, chomo, child molester. I said, no, I'm not a child molester.
That's good.
And then he says, you can sit with the Aryans in the cafeteria. And I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I guess I'm with the Aryans now. But then a couple of months later,
Simple rules.
I was across the hall from a captain in the Bonanno family. And he said to me one day, he goes, let me ask you a question. Why do you sit with those Nazi retards every day? And I said, I don't know. I said, my first day here, they just told me to sit with them. And he goes, from today, you are with the Italians. I said, it's about time.
That was it, yeah.
Took you long enough.
You got drafted.
Yeah. But they were the best.
Yeah, but a lot of
Best.
good stories, dude. Any good story come to mind from some of you, like a good story you heard in prison?
Yeah, there's one. You're going to think less of me, and I don't care.
That's fine. I could tell you some stuff. That would probably make it even.
There was a guy in my housing unit who was a serial killer. He was called Truck because he drove long-distance trucks from the East Coast to the West Coast. And he would pick up prostitutes at truck stops, and he would rape them and murder them, drive them a couple of 100 miles down the highway, and then dump the bodies out. So the cops estimated that he killed 14. It was probably more than that. But he strangled one, and she survived. And she was able to give the cops the license number. Now, this was in the days before DNA testing. So this guy...
Before DNA testing?
Yeah, this was in the 70s.
Oh, he'd been in for a long time.
He was doing life.
Got it.
So for reasons that were never clear to me, this guy constantly sought my approval. He was full of shit. He would come up, he had the worst breath because he had just these blackened, rotten nubs where that used to be his teeth. And he was saying,
That makes
he
my
goes,
fucking dick soft,
oh,
dude.
it was awful. He goes, you CIA? And I said, yeah, I used to be. He goes, I did work for the CIA. I ran a shrimp boat full of weapons to Angola. I go, get the fuck out of here. I didn't know he was a serial killer. I go, get the fuck out of here. The shrimp boat to Angola. Have you ever been on a shrimp boat? And I walked away. People are looking at me like, are you crazy? Do you know who that is? Well, I didn't know who it was. So instead of making him mad, it just made him more actively seek my approval. So I'm a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Oh, yeah.
And he would say, hey, John, the Steelers are the featured game of the week. I saved you a seat in the TV room. I'm like, thanks, truck. I'm like, okay. John, I know you listen to classic rock. There's a new classic rock station, 1600 AM. You should check it out. I'm like, okay, thanks, truck. In the meantime, there's this guy we called Cat in the Hat because he had this oddly elongated head, like a birth defect, kind of giant Cat in the Hat head. And he comes up to me one day and he said, hey, I heard you had an empty bunk in your cell. I want to move into your cell. I heard it's a good cell. And I said, well, not so fast, buddy. I said, we don't allow any pedophiles in our cell and no rats. I said, what's your crime? He goes, murder for hire.
And no
I don't even
Sorry.
care about that.
Yeah.
But the other guy, I can't speak for the other guys.
Yeah, I was trying to be a part of the group, you know? Like, go on.
So he says, murder for hire. I said, I don't think I like that any better than the pedophiles or the rats. What were the circumstances? And he said, I owed the mob a lot of money, $100,000 in gambling. I couldn't pay it, so I took out a life insurance policy on my business partner. And I hired a hitman to kill him, and the hitman got caught. I said, let me think about it. Well, think about it. I went straight to the law library and I looked up his case, and that wasn't it at all. It was true. He owed the mob $100,000. He took out the life insurance policy. He hired the hitman. He got caught because, of course, he's going to get caught. Where's the first place the cops are going to go?
Where the money went.
And he ratted out the hitman so that he wouldn't get the federal death penalty. Instead, he got 20 years. So I said, no rats in the room. So he was mad at me. Anyway, one day, Jake Tapper comes up to the prison to interview me. And I get called down to the lieutenant's office. Normally, if you're called down to the lieutenant's office, it's to go to solitary. If you come back, usually it's because you ratted somebody out. Well, I went down there to sign the waiver so I could give Jake Tapper the interview. So I'm sitting in the TV room next to Truck. Truck was very, very sensitive about being called a chomo because that girl that he strangled was 16, which technically made him a chomo. Right? So Truck's sitting here, I'm sitting here. Right here is Cat in the Hat with his back toward me. He's on the computer. There's like this internal internal email system. He doesn't see me. I'm sitting 18 inches away from him. And then he says to the guy next to him, "Do you hear? Kiriakou got called down to the lieutenant's office." He goes, "That guy's a fucking rat. He went down there to rat us out." And I just sat there watching the game. And then Truck says, "That fucking guy just called you a rat." And I said, "An hour ago, I heard him call you a chomo," which was a total lie. I just made it up. He didn't say a single word. He just stood up, walked over here, and beat this guy almost to death. They had to land a helicopter in the yard to life flight Cat in the Hat to Pittsburgh. They gave Truck 5 more years. And
Cat Scan in the Hat, huh?
Yeah, it's Cat Scan in the Hat. See, now how come I didn't think of that? Because I'm not a comedian. I should have put that in my book.
I don't know. Is there any real value in me thinking of that? That's a good question. I don't know.
6 weeks later, Cat in the Hat is finally released from the hospital. He comes. He's all fucked up still. And he's like this. Somebody had told him what had happened. He goes, I wanted to say I'm sorry for calling you a rat. I should never have said that. And everybody stops to look to see what I'm going to say. Well, what am I going to say? Forget it. It's all water under the bridge. I go, "Listen, look at me. Look at me." And he lifts his head up. And I said, "So help me God, if I ever hear my name cross your lips ever again, you're dead. And there won't even find you." "Oh, I'm sorry. So everybody's like, the CIA guy's tough after all. But I said in the book, one of my rules that I learned at the CIA, let others do your dirty work. And then I get called down to the lieutenant's office again. Because as he's beating him, I sat back down and I'm watching the game. Everybody else runs. As soon as there's a fight, everybody just runs like cockroaches.
That's insane, though.
Right? So I'm watching the game. "Kiriakou, lieutenant's office, immediately. They always do it the same way. It's like they're caricatures of themselves. So I go down there, and one of the lieutenants, there are two of them, and he says, so tell us about this fight. I go, what fight? What fight? You're going to be a smart guy now. I said, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The fight. We had 4 cameras showing you saying something to that crazy person, and then he got up and beat the other guy. I said, I was watching the Steelers game. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you're not going to tell us about the fight? I said, you know what? Maybe I will tell you about the fight. Maybe it was you that started the fight. Did you ever think of that? Maybe it wasn't me. I was an innocent bystander. Maybe you put them up to fight each other. I think I might make a complaint against you. He goes, get the fuck out of my office. And I wrote in my book, rule number 1, admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. And as I was walking out, I just said, exactly.
Dang, bro. I don't even know what to think anymore.
You know, I figured
Sometimes that's where you get people to that point. You're like this, you know.
they
it's
pushed
like,
me and pushed me and pushed me. And at sentencing, the judge sentenced me to a minimum security work camp. And the CIA was furious that I got such a light sentence and I was going to a minimum security camp. So the CIA intervened to send me to a low security prison, which is an actual prison with the double
Why'd they do
walls.
that?
And they were furious
The
that
CIA was?
when I was first charged, I mean, this is a potential death penalty case. 3 counts of espionage for talking to ABC News and the New York Times.
Because you were talking to him about torture, right? What cases specifically were you talking to him about?
Abu Zubaydah. And they were furious because nobody had ever confirmed that there was a torture program. And I said it was illegal. Besides being immoral and unethical, it's illegal. You want to torture people, God bless. But you got to change the law first. We're a
Right.
nation of laws.
Which countries do you think had the toughest torture programs over the years? Or do you even know?
Over the years, like, let's go back 100 years. The Chinese, the Vietnamese, and the Belgians. The Belgians, if you can imagine. The horrors that they perpetrated in Congo of epic proportions. Yeah, the Russians, the Iranians, the Israelis, the United States.
Is it weird? Like, 'cause we talk about the term terrorism now, but it's like it definitely feels like we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's like it feels sometimes it's like, how much is America like a terrorist state in the world? And I hate to say that because this is the country that we live in.
Yeah.
But it's like I think at a certain point, if you use, it, you know, I don't know. You know, it's got to be hard to figure that out. But it's like, you know, it's like when do you use like fear tactics and that sort of thing to make sure that everything's okay, you know? Yeah, I don't know. It's like, here's my question. Do you think it's possible for America to get to a place where we're an actual peacekeeper? Or do you think it's possible to keep peace without terror? Does it make any sense or not?
Yeah, that's a hard question.
Good.
You know, and I think my answer has changed over the years. I believed for a very long time that we were the good guys. I was a true believer. That's why I worked there. We were the good guys.
And we still, I think as people, we still are.
As people, we
citizens,
still are.
we still are.
Agreed. We still are. Somebody commented on a Facebook post that I made the other day. Like, I heard you say that the United States is the best country in the world. You should be ashamed of yourself. I was like, I believe that the United States is the best country in the world. That's why I live here.
Yeah.
I could go live in some other country if I wanted to, but this is the best country in the world. We have problems. Every country has problems. But the reason why I'm as active and as vocal as I am is because I want to change the things that I disagree with. I don't think we should be a nation that tortures people or murders people without trial. If somebody is a clear and present danger, which is the language that's used in the amendment to 12333, okay. Clear and present danger. They're getting ready to, you know, deliver the dirty bomb or, you know, whatever. Okay. Sometimes we have to work in the shadows. Awful, but it's a fact of life. But if you just send teams around the world to kill people whose politics you don't like, people who have never been charged with a crime, then shame on us. That's not what the founding fathers gave us. So if you want to torture people, you got to change the law. Ronald Reagan said, we were a shining city on a hill, right? We're a beacon of hope for human rights and civil liberties. That's the country I want to be.
Same. That's what most people want to be.
Exactly.
Do you think we can get back to that place, or what do you think?
I think it's possible.
You do?
I think it's going to take a very long time, but I think it's possible. And I think we have to start by trying to snap out of this mindset that we have to be the world's policeman.
Yeah.
Like, why? I have relatives in Greece and friends all over Europe, and they ask me the same question all the time. Why are you guys doing this? Like, did we really need to overthrow Libya? Gaddafi, rather, in Libya? Of course
I think
not.
a lot of people don't know what's going on. They just want their families to be okay. They don't want data centers. A lot of people do not want
That's right.
AI.
That's
they don't
right.
give a shit about it. It's not going to
I'm
benefit them.
genuinely frightened.
Oh, the Pope is frightened. I'm trying to get the Pope to come in. And I offered that I would go to the Vatican and talk with the Pope.
Oh,
I just
that's
want to.
wonderful.
I want to learn about what he thinks.
Yeah. The Archbishop of the Greek Orthodox Church just issued an encyclical 100% supporting everything the Pope said on this.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it would be a blessing to get to talk with him and just learn. I just want to be able to share a message, be a part of not me share it, but just be just part of the telephone game of helping or being a part of the message getting out if I can.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's important. We don't want that. Nobody wants it. 30 people want it. 100 people want it with a lot of power.
Exactly.
We don't want it.
Exactly. Yes.
Nobody wants it.
You're
Nobody
right.
wants it.
Yeah, there it is right
Nobody
there.
wants
his
it.
encyclical.
Yeah, I read about this. I've read part of the Pope's, but I haven't seen this new one. This is from the Orthodox Church.
Yeah, the Greek Orthodox Archbishop, it's Elpidophoros, his name, endorsing everything the Pope said about AI.
You have a new podcast. Thanks, Sean, for hanging out. Sorry if I haven't had the
thank
best
you.
questions at certain points.
No,
It's
your questions were great, and they cut right to the heart of things.
trying to get my brain back on track a little bit. It's just been a long month, but before you do leave, I know you have a podcast that you're starting your own. Finally, thank you.
Finally,
Because
thank
you've
you.
been on all of them, so you have to start your own. And it's
I'm
called
excited.
The Briefing Room.
Yeah, John Kiriaku's Briefing Room.
John Kiriaku's Briefing Room.
We're going to launch it in about 4 weeks. If you go to Real John Kiriaku on YouTube, it'll pop up saying coming soon. Please, please, please subscribe. And I have another one too called John Kiriaku's Dead Drop that's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's just story after story after story. And it's been actually very popular. Been very lucky. We've gone up to number 5 in the history category worldwide.
Oh, it's exciting.
It's really, very exciting.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I mean, that's one thing that we also have to remember is sure, things seem this way and that way, but also it isn't if you can see excitement as being of all things and not just things that seem positive, but things that could seem to be decided, then there is a lot of excitement. And so that's a nice way to think about things.
Agreed.
And this your book, The Ultimate Guide to CIA Skills, Tactics, and Techniques.
Yep.
Is there a basic one you can give us out of the book, man? That's just something that you can notice about people?
The part that I'm proudest of in this book is the section on surveillance and surveillance detection. I took it so seriously that I actually became a surveillance instructor at the CIA for the last 2 years that I was at headquarters. I'll tell you something that happened to me when I was in Pakistan. I was always very, very, very careful about my own personal security. And I noticed one day, I was staying at a guest house, a little 14-room guest house. And I noticed one day there's a guy in a motorcycle. He's trying really hard to stay in my blind spot. And the only reason I even noticed him was he had a red motorcycle helmet on. And nobody in Pakistan wore motorcycle helmets. I don't even know where you would buy a motorcycle helmet. So I was like, that's funny. I speed up, he speeds up. I slow down, he slows down. I change lanes, he changes lanes. I'm like, this isn't good. I get to the entrance to the diplomatic quarter, which was the part of town where all the embassies were, and he breaks off. Well, I work 14, 15, 16 hours every single day. I get to work when it's dark. I leave work when it's dark. And so I pull out of the diplomatic quarter, and the guy's on me again. And I was like, this is definitely not good. I was worried about it all night. So the next morning I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm taking a different route to work every day. I'm leaving at a different time every day. My routes to work don't make any sense. Just to make sure I'm not being followed. And now twice I am being followed. There's a definition of surveillance at the CIA. It's multiple sightings at time and distance. So you see the person more than once at different times of the day and at different places. So we have a database. So I put in the database when I first arrived. I think I'm under surveillance. It's a motorcycle. Here's the license number. This is a description of the guy. He's wearing a red helmet. Next day, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I just open the door a crack. I look up and down the street. I don't see anybody. So they had assigned us these like poles, these retracting poles with a mirror on the bottom. So I look under my car. I don't see any explosives or tracking devices or anything. So you got to be careful, you know? So I get in the car. I go like 2 blocks and the guy's on me again. So I finally get to the office and I waited for the security officer to come in. And I said, listen, I'm under surveillance. I'm 100% sure I'm under surveillance. I told him about the 3 sightings. He was like, ooh, this isn't good. I said, I know. He said, we have to wait until the chief comes in. So finally the chief comes in around 7. And I said, I'm under surveillance, 100% certain. So I explained to him the 3 different sightings. And he's like, well, you know what you have to do. And I said, I know. He goes, you never popped your cherry that way, did you?
Let's shoot somebody?
And I said, nope, never needed to. He's like, well, we're gonna have teams out there. Don't worry, we're gonna have guys all around you. You're not gonna be alone. I'm like, okay, all right. I was very worried. So I get back to my office. My office, it was me. I was the only staff officer, and 6 retirees who had all been in the senior intelligence service. Every one of the 6 had either been the chief or deputy chief of Near Eastern operations. One had been the assistant deputy director of the CIA, but they all came back after 9/11 for patriotic reasons. But if you're a contractor, you can't be the chief. So they all worked for me, right? And word got around, they're like, don't worry, buddy. We're all going to be out there. Don't worry about a thing. I'm like, I'm very worried. That afternoon, I have a meeting at a safe house that we shared with the Pakistani intelligence service. We interrogated a prisoner. And I get up to leave, and I don't know what possessed me to stop. And I turned and I said, General Muhammad, are you following me? And he says, no, why? I said, because I'm under surveillance. I'm 100% sure that I'm under surveillance, and I'm going to kill the guy this afternoon. And he's like, no, it's not us. I never saw him again. So weeks later, we heard that a bunch of them were sitting around the table. And one of them said, the new guy, Kiriakou, he's a nice guy. And everybody's like, yeah, he's a very nice guy. And then one of them said, you know what? Nobody's that nice. He's probably being nice just to trick us into a sense of complacency. We don't know what he's doing when he's not here. He's probably spying on us. I wasn't. But they put the worst surveillance officer in the entire Pakistani intelligence service on me. So instead of 2 blocks back, he's right there in my blind spot. And it was only because I stopped before I got to the door that afternoon and asked General Muhammad if they were following me. That's the only reason that guy's not in the ground today. I was going to kill him that afternoon.
Were you?
Oh, yes, I was.
Dang, John, about
Because
to pop off,
I was
bruh.
convinced he was going to kill me.
That big guy. That's crazy, bro. Dang, dude. I think everybody wants to shoot somebody.
No.
But they don't let you.
I worked with a guy, great friend, we go to the same church, we're in the same men's group.
They don't let you.
And he's a psychiatrist. Sorry, you made me laugh. He's a psychiatrist. And he said to me, I find it fascinating that you don't have PTSD. And I said, is that good or bad? And he said, from a psychiatric point of view? And I said, yeah. He goes, not good. I said, I wasn't afraid of those people, Steve. I was not afraid of them.
Yeah, it is interesting, man. The things that we hold,
think
what's going
that's
on
what it's
inside of
about,
us,
though.
you know, how it comes out, what gets figured out, you know.
You just never know. You never know what's going to bother you. You never know what's going to stick in your mind and bother you and fester for years. It happens.
Yeah. The stories, man. Ain't about just making a story, you know. I mean, you seem like
Yeah.
a kind of guy that likes to make a story, you know.
I like telling these stories. And people say,
And living a story, though. I mean.
oh, yeah. Oh, listen, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have these stories in my past. I'd be like, oh, my God. My first wife, she's like, I want to move back to Ohio, and I want you to sell car insurance with my cousin Dean. I said, I would rather cut my throat than move to Ohio and sell insurance with your cousin Dean.
I'd rather join the Aryan Brotherhood in prison.
Seriously.
And you did.
And I did.
So I take a look. Insurance next time.
Yeah, next life. No,
John,
thank
tell
you.
your son I said what's up that you mentioned on the way in.
Thank you, Max.
Max, tell him I said what's up. And is Kyriakou, is it Greek?
Greek.
I was thinking about that. You have the new book, you have the new podcast. Thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. It's great
Oh,
to meet you.
You too, man. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze.
I'm your mother's friend with benefits.
Benefits?
Benefits.
Benefits?
Benefits.
Yeah, benefits.
With the credit.
Here, you are the loudspeaker of the planet, man, and I'm so honored to be here.
That's a very uncomfortable position to be in. I'll tell you that. It's very weird.
Yeah, I bet. But look, I mean, you've talked to everybody in the planet, and I think I'm honored to be your first arm wrestler.
Well, if I'm going to have an arm wrestler, it has to be the GOAT.
Oh, highly debated, but I'll take it.
You're in
Thank
the
you.
conversation.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
for
in the
damn sure.
conversation. There's a couple of us, I think. John Brzenk. I don't know how close do you follow arm wrestling?
Very little.
Yeah.
I follow you. Well, I'm most fascinated by the fact that you can't extend your arm.
You know, yeah.
His arms
is-
don't straighten out.
No, they don't, unfortunately. That
That's
didn't work.
crazy.
Yeah. It didn't work when I was trying to fight Thor either. It kind of limited the extension. But
When did that start happening?
so I got into club arm wrestling. I arm wrestled when I was a kid, but I got into club arm wrestling around like 18. By the time I was 20 or so, we have this champion called Crazy George. Okay, he's like a very old, very decorated champion, and he famously, at the time for me, he couldn't straighten his elbows, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait till my elbows don't straighten. like a silly wish, right? So it started early. Like I think I was like probably like in my late 20s, and it just the range started to shrink.
And what is that from?
It's just pressure mostly, like just the constant pressure on the elbow joint causes, osteophytes potentially. Like, and it doesn't happen to all the arm wrestlers.
Have
Like,
you got an MRI on it
I've had 3 surgeries
to straighten them out?
to remove bone and scar tissue,
Just chipped bones and stuff?
chip bones. Dr. Pollock, bless his soul, at the Ottawa Hospital has extended my career till this age. Yeah, it can. That's probably one of the worst chronic conditions that arm wrestlers get. Is if the bone growth gets bad enough, it can start to constrict your nerves or blood flow, and that's when it becomes a problem.
Has that happened to you?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I was probably it was like 2013. So like 13 years ago was when I had my first surgery, and at that point, like trying to move forward, and
Pull it out as far
Yeah.
as you can go.
that's
it?
That's it, buddy. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the left is a little more than the right. It looks like.
Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had 2 surgeries on the right, 1 on the left. But in my mind, it's a small price to pay. Like I'm as all in arm wrestling as you can possibly be. And this is our cost of admission for some of us. And
Does that happen to every arm wrestler?
No.
No?
no, there's lots of arm wrestlers. It's a style thing. It's a genetic predisposition. I rolled the dice wrong one day and had a bad match. I think what happens is it's the pressure, it's the bones over time. If you're a dummy and keep on doing it when you should probably rest, that probably doesn't help. And I'm guilty, So
Like most of the greats.
anyways,
In everything.
It doesn't affect me in the sport. I call it weaponized arthritis. Okay, because There are ways you can kind of make your loss of range work for you at times.
Really?
Yeah, because there's like, like if you're doing an arm bar, okay, like your body resists with the ligaments and the tendons. So that starts higher for me. And I think that there's a muscular strength component that kicks in as well right at the end of the range to protect you. So I just have a higher, arm bar,
Did it help you in arm bars as well?
Oh God, no, it doesn't. A good jujitsu guy is he's still gonna arm bar me. No.
But that's also the bones would just snap.
Yeah, it's just gonna snap higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snapping backwards.
Yeah.
Did you ever try hanging from like a chin-up bar to straighten it out?
I've tried a lot of things.
I saw a video with you and Juju Mufu.
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Juji.
Juji.
Yeah.
Juji Mufu?
Yeah, Juji Mufu.
Okay.
John Call. Yeah, he's great.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's such a character. But they were rolling. They were trying to like do some stuff with like these big metal bars to
Yeah.
roll out your muscles.
Uh-huh.
And you were in fucking agony.
Yeah.
I was like, that is crazy to watch. Like,
Yeah.
you really can't straighten your arm. And when they were trying, you were screaming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. I've kind of just accepted it.
Did you ever try to hang?
I've tried so many things, but when I was young, when I was 20, I was wishing for the day that I could be like Crazy George. So it's interesting, like I'm not. If I was like all about straightening my arm, I would probably still do it because the bone is actually removed. Now it's a sheath, it's like a capsule that surrounds the joint. That is probably the root cause of it.
What is the capsule made out of?
I believe it's was fascia, just connective structure. I think it encapsulates the joint.
So everything is just sort of condensed to hold the joint together?
I think so. Yeah,
It's
and
kind of a unique study. If you were like a physiologist, you're studying human anatomy, you would say, okay, like, what is possible? Do you know about David Goggins' knees?
I know David Goggins. I don't know about his knees.
His knees are so great. He's bone on bone
Yeah.
with both knees. And he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, I don't know how you can walk with these knees. Forget about run thousands of miles. So his knees had it's what is it called, Jimmy? It's like wolf something. It's like there's a condition when you're bone on bone for so long where the bone actually spreads out. And the doctor said, I'd heard about this in theory. I've never seen it on an actual human being where his knee, the bone had grown out so weird that his knees were moving at like odd angles. So they had to saw his tibia and move his knee down. So he's still bone on bone, but now he has a flat surface. And so they cut it and then screwed it into place. And then he just rode a stationary bike for like fucking 5 months, like a maniac, and then started running again. Bone on bone. It's crazy.
He's wild.
See if you can see if you can find what the condition is.
Says it's called Wolff's Law, biological principle stating that bones adapt and grow thicker when under physical stress. Is that?
I think that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And his grew thicker and like kind of mushroomed out at the top of the knee because there's nothing there. There's no, and it's just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
So it just kept growing out. And if you see, do we have the images of the surgery? I know I sent it to you a long ass time
Yeah, I
ago.
mean, it's showing a bunch of stuff when he was on here.
So
That
see
was-
that where the fingerprints on his shin? That's because he had so much edema on his leg that he could squeeze it and put that's after the surgery.
Awesome.
Yeah, but look at the actual, look at that, the photo of what the knee looks like. That's not him. Where's
That's like an image of what it looked like.
Okay, so they saw it, and then they screw it down in place. They saw it slightly,
Right.
like
I
a wedge
understand.
off a piece of wood. And you lower it, level it out, and then screw it in place.
Yeah, for sure. I have something similar. I've been bone on bone for probably 2 decades.
Really?
Yeah.
All the cartilage is gone.
Nothing. So when I went in and got my surgery, doctor told me I have there's nothing there but bone. He said, Devin, maybe we can give you another couple of years on your career, maybe.
How long ago did you say this?
That was like 50 years ago. I was probably, no kidding, I probably pulled off my best show ever 6 weeks ago. So.
Really? How old are you?
I'm 51.
That's amazing.
And I have another shot at the world title. I'm still number 1 in the divisions. So, you know, I'm lucky, but I think it's the doctors will say something, but it's just not true. You can do anything, you know.
Well, Goggins is a perfect example of that, and I guess so are you. It's the idea that you can't do something is based on when most people quit.
There are so many reasons to love the play with the Arizona Lottery, like supporting children in foster care.
I feel like something's coming.
Tell me what's happening.
We are in for a treat.
Yeah. Pain is a interesting thing to try and master, you know. It's information, and you have to be able to live with it and work with it. But it's good. It's good to have this pain because it's kind of a guide on where you need to get better. You know, the tendons and the tendinous structures of the elbow are super taxed in arm wrestling, and the process of rehabilitation and development of these structures under great duress and trauma is difficult, and it requires a lot of time and monotony, which a lot of people aren't willing to put in.
I'm shocked at how much time grip training takes.
Yeah.
It takes forever. I've been trying to jack those grip strength things. The strongest I ever got to is 164. And I'm like, I want to get to 200. I feel like in my lifetime I can get to 200. I can't get past 164. And the thing is, like, I keep lifting weights with my arms. And I've always tired. So like every time I squeeze that thing, my hands are always sore. So I'm like, shit, I got to take some time off to see if I can get it stronger. And so I'm doing all these wrist curls, and I've got the forearm finisher from Golden Grip, and I've got these big fat things that I use for cables to rotate wrists. And my hands got bigger. I'm definitely stronger, but it's like I don't know when to lay off of it, or when to like. How many days a week do you do grip training?
What's your guess?
Every day.
Of course.
Every day. And is that the way to do it? Is that the smart way to do it? Because I know you talk to a lot of those rock climber guys, and they have the craziest grip strength.
Yeah. One of the things that I'll just say right away is a lot of people associate grip with arm wrestling, and 100%. It's of massive importance. But the real technical nuance of the sport is to try and make the other person hold on to you. Right? So it's not necessarily, grip is more like defense and added offense, but the first step is to try and tax the other person's grip. But
how do you do that?
I think that we are opening up like technical arm wrestling, okay?
Open it up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so I think from my position, the opening move in arm wrestling is a concept called rising. Like, you know the movie Over the Top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the opening step of the sport. And what it is basically an attempt to get a better grip. And if I can, the concept of making the other opponent hold on to you, that's the first step in technical supremacy. Okay, if you can make the other person hold on to you, if you can touch their fingers, if you can get their fingers activated and they're holding on to you, they're less efficient.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about attacking weakness more than it is about going where you're strong.
So they're the most efficient when it's palm to palm and everything's gripped nice and tight.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you get like out here,
you want the pressure interaction to be unfair to your advantage. Right? Like if we were to arm wrestle, you would want to put the pressure in my fingertips, like with like almost like a hammer type motion, right? So you're basically, it's almost like a curl. It's more complicated, but that's like the first way to start to think about it. Like people think about arm wrestling,
right?
And this is a very short-sighted way to think about the sport. You think about pulling the match close to you. This concept of rising is this upwards, spinning, slipping motion where the end result is you have a better grip. And anything that they try and do, it's going to go through the weakest system they have, which is their fingertips. Yeah, so it is great to have an awesome grip.
But
really,
that's not everything.
So like proportionately in my workload, if I was doing 21 sets, 21, or I think I do 21 working sets typically in my workouts. One of them is dedicated purely all day.
All day. So you just do them throughout the day.
I lead a very simple life at the moment.
So structure it. Like, how do you do it?
My structure right now, and I think that I'm probably one of the most dedicated arm wrestlers in the world in terms of like what I do with my life and how much energy I give the sport, is I base it off of a week. Okay, so I train with the club probably twice a week. This changes, but typically I'm going twice a week, and these are my hardest days. And I go in there and I just completely redline and max out in the sport. Okay, all the exactly what I got to do, I'm doing at my highest capacity. I have my family. We're all arm wrestlers. So my kid, he's a pro too. He's competing this weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we have our own thing where we'll we'll train together. But really 2 hard sessions a week, and then whatever I fit in with my kids. And then the rest of the days are like mindless. Not just the monotony level is extreme. My wife and I'm retired, right? So I have nothing but time. And I just try and put everything into it. So like, it's all day, man. It's all day. I wake up and I'm training like all day.
So these machines, like this is some of the shit that you have.
Yeah.
Now, is this a machine that's specifically designed for arm wrestling? Did this exist, or did you help create this?
This machine is handed down for me from the best female arm wrestler ever to exist, Leanne Dufresne. Johnny Roberts. So this is like a very standard arm wrestling equipment. It's basically an arm wrestling table with a cable system. And this is super old, okay? This table you're looking at here, that's like 40-year-old table. And it's still working. But yeah, you can buy a pulley system on a table. And that's really, like, this is basically all I do. I work off of a table, different angles, different pressures that all just replicate the pressures in arm wrestling.
So you have a fat grip, looks like a PVC tube, and then you're using that to work your fingertips and roll your wrists and just get to be really strong at that position where you're turning someone's wrist over?
We call that a multi-spinner. And what's interesting about it is you see it's a single point attachment. So it's a little bit like Swiss ball for the wrist. So it's
Swiss ball? What's that?
You know, like a Swiss ball, like people do like squats on them, like the ball in the gym. People do like
like a Bosu ball? Is that what it's called?
Bosu's like a half, right?
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Swiss ball is like just the big round balls that. Yeah, and you see people.
Like a yoga ball.
Yeah.
Whatever they call them.
Right. You ever jumped on a Swiss ball and done squats or anything?
No.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
Swiss ball is way more unstable. So it's a similar concept where it's very unstable through the wrist. And there's different wraps, but there's like a few base moves in arm wrestling. Probably top rolling, hooking, and pressing.
And you just do shit like this all day?
All day. And this is in my taper, okay? I know, it's crazy. That's the hardest part.
This is in your what room?
This is in my basement.
Oh, your basement.
Yeah. And what you see here, this was actually my final workout before I pulled the Russian champion, Vitaly Levin, like 6-7 weeks ago. So I've tapered. Normally, all these movements you see, I'm doing like 100 repetitions. So lots of blood flow.
And when you're doing 100 repetitions, what, 50% maximum?
No.
What do you weigh?
Nothing.
Nothing. Like 20 pounds, something light?
Yeah.
Really?
Movement.
Is that the key?
I experiment a lot, okay? I've done so many different systems, but this is what I've come up with that I think is best. So basically, it all revolves around these arm wrestling practice days, where it's 100%, this is what I want my body to maximize. But the off days, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, it's all day just doing blood flow. Just increasing the amount of blood that flows through the fascia, flows through these chains in arm wrestling motions. And the 100 is, all I'm trying to do is increase my circulation, especially through my connective structures. And movement is so essential.
Kayak told me hotel prices just dropped. Now we can stop scrolling for travel hacks.
Honey, Mortgage Bunny 6 says we should keep renting.
Mortgage Money 6? Reba says more realtor agents recommend realtor.
Why is that why is that more beneficial than like hard strength training, like small reps, like low numbers of reps with high weight?
So, super debatable, okay? And I've done all of it. What I've found is, in my opinion, you only have so much energy, and this is something we gotta really weigh in, because if I could just smash, heavy stuff all the time and take steps forward, I'd do it. But I've found that you don't want to detract from the thing that you're really, really trying to do. So anything that takes away from your ability to do that, I think you should look at cutting. The best part of my training is on the table. So anything that kind of messes with that, I don't want to do it. I've done a lot of systems where I'm lifting heavy, but the thing is they take energy, they take resources, and what I really want to do is prepare my body so I can do that specific task as good as possible. The high rep training heals me. It heals me. A lot of people are like, oh, that's a lot of work, and I'm like, it's really not. It's a form of healing almost. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just the blood flow and the consistent movement and high repetitions.
This is highly debated, okay? But I'm proving it over and over the years. I started doing, because arm wrestling's a strength sport, no doubt about it. So right away people think, heavy weight and high reps is dangerous because you're going to become an endurance guy and it's going to make you weaker. But when you go low, your work volume is tremendous. Okay, if you're doing light weight all day long, I mean, the amount of total weight that you're lifting becomes astronomical. And I think that adaptation over long periods is wonderful, and you can't get the blood flow through the connective structures without movement. So this is really why I do it. The healing aspects, the overall metabolic conditioning that you get, and the taper is a big part of it as well. But yeah, I'm doing all my heavy lifting specifically in the sport. Like I'm not doing my heavy lifting at this time in my career. And also, Joe, I'm 51, and I'm plagued with injuries, so I have to be very specific. I have to be very precise. Yeah, this is the best formula I've come up with.
And when you were younger, did you approach it differently?
I have made so many mistakes.
What was the initial approach? Just lift as heavy as you can?
Yeah, lift as heavy as I can.
Well, you're a giant dude already, right? So you already naturally have like big bones, big genetics. So did you power lift? Like, what did you do initially?
I was a judo guy. I was a basketball guy. I was a military guy. So I did a lot of different stuff. I was very cross-trained. I even did Ironman for a bit. But
God, this gotta be so hard for you. All that weight.
Yeah. When I say Ironman, apologies, not traditional, military Ironman. So
what's the difference?
Military Ironman, you're doing it with a backpack, you're portaging a canoe, you're paddling, you're running with a backpack. So that race, a winning time is, probably anything under 6 hours, like 5.5 to 6 hours. So it's long duration, but it's slightly heavier. So I'm still big, even for that. Like most champions, most guys who win the Ironman are, average size, even smaller. But yeah, the size, I'm a bigger person. But yeah, I did a lot of different sports, but I've always loved arm wrestling. It's always been the one I've come back to. It's,
What is it about it?
I think that there's a lot of things about it. For me personally, it was my first sport. Like, I started arm wrestling with my grandmother when I was like 4 years old.
With your grandmother?
Yeah.
Really?
Never underestimate the power of a grandmother. Yeah. I was a rowdy little kid, and with a German mother who didn't let me do too much crazy stuff around the house. And my grandmother used to come over, and it was a reward system. She'd tell me to do chores, and the result was I got to arm wrestle with her. Yeah, I never beat her.
That's crazy.
I never beat her. It's funny. Her name was Levon, and the current super heavyweight world champion is Levon. So I've never beat either of them. Yeah, it's a bit trippy. But yeah, so I started young. I love arm wrestling because it's a very safe fight. Okay, like I love fighting. Everything in my life has been about fighting, and arm wrestling is one of those fight sports that's super low cost. And, I'll be able to walk, nothing on my spine, my elbows don't straighten, you know. So it's low cost. You can do it your whole life. Like we've had world champions in the open division who are almost 70.
What? What?
Yeah, it's cool, right?
That's incredible.
I love it.
How's that possible?
Yeah, the hand is weird. Like this thing here is designed for volume, and it just slowly builds. You know, the structure has so much connective tissues in it, so much tendon, and it takes so long to build. You know, age is an advantage in a lot of ways because you just have more time to get further in arm wrestling. Yeah, I'm 51. I'm telling you, I probably competed at the highest level, and I believe I can still go further. It's non-typical, you know. It's non-typical. And the thing that I love most about it, the very most, is the family and the bonds. Arm wrestling clubs are special places. It's very blue collar. All open doors, man. There's not a lot of money associated with the sport in terms of membership fees. We arm wrestle in each other's garages and houses, and it breeds a very tight family. Like I consider the club that I train with like they're my family. Like so, that's that's what sport's all about. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and arm wrestling is very conducive to that.
So when you say it's non-typical that you can compete at this level, at this age, how old are like most of the top guys?
I'd say that you hit your probably peak typically when you are low 30s. So very standard. You know, oh, there's Crazy George. This is the guy, okay? So this guy,
which one's Crazy
George? The dude who's down there, not the guy in the green shirt. So these are both my good buddies.
And this is the guy who can't straighten his arms out?
He can't, no. He's super locked up, okay? But so he's doing this move called a King's move, or outside top roll. And you see Pork Chop's wrist is bent back. I love Porky. I train with Porky twice a week. But yeah, Crazy George. And Crazy George is like 160 pounds. And yeah, and Porky's like 230, completely tremendously jacked and strong. Yeah, and Pork Chop is like a professional arm wrestler pulling at East versus West. Okay, that's our highest league. And Crazy George is, yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's completely incredible. Yeah. There's another guy from our club, Matt Smith, against Crazy George. I think Matt actually may have beaten him here. This is actually the time period of Crazy George's downfall, okay? So
how old is Crazy George in this film?
He'd probably be late 60s here, okay?
Wow.
Yeah. He's an absolute legend to me in the sport. Like, technically, so this guy, he spent the first, 20 years in the sport, 2 up, 2 down, okay? Go to tournament, double elimination. And that's the Canadian champ. These guys are all champions that you see him arm wrestling with. And he invented, basically, he didn't invent it, but there were very few people doing this style of arm wrestling. Okay, we call it an outside top roll or a King's move. And he really figured it out, and very difficult to deal with.
And what is he doing? He's dropping down and lowering his body weight?
Yeah, so there's many kind of main strengths in arm wrestling, okay? There's rising strength, there's pronational strength, there's cupping strength, and this pronational, you see this, this is like my favorite example.
Jesus Christ,
okay?
Look at that thing. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Show that.
Right,
look at that. Who the fuck has that muscle?
Right. Arm wrestlers.
That muscle's so weird.
Yeah. Right, so that
I don't even think I have that. Where is that?
Yeah, it's right there.
That's
right.
nuts.
Right.
Mine is non-existent.
I was going to interrupt. I saw it on this thumbnail, and I was going to say, what is that?
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out.
That's fucking crazy.
It's one of my dreams to have bodybuilders when they're, IFBB, just to be doing pronator poses one day. It's
I don't even have that.
You got to first turn your thumb down.
Like that?
Yeah, and pop your wrist back. There it is. See it?
Where?
There's it. Yeah. There you go.
This little,
That's the one.
Little bitch ass.
That's the one.
Fucking
yeah.
little bitch ass. muscle. God, that's
So-
hilarious. That's gigantic.
Yeah. So, like, different styles in arm wrestling, okay, like, they have different roots, okay? And the King's move, top rolling in general, outside top rolling, is super dependent on pronation.
So it's all this.
Twisting, yeah. Twisting, yeah. It's weaponized, right? We get really strong, and there's a relationship between all the angles in the hand. The hand is very complex, right? All sorts of stuff it can do. And the main two drivers is cupping, we call it, flexion, and pronation. And these two interact. So when one pronates, it attacks the other one's cup. So there's a relationship between them. So Crazy George is like the master of pronational styles. King's move is pronation style. I, over the course of my career, changed techniques. Probably my best technique is an open top roll or a King's move now. Yeah, and I learned a lot. It's like the guy that, one of my first coaches, a guy called Troy Eaton, he could never be George. He couldn't be George. We tried for years to figure him out. So, and that was back when I was like 20. Right, so I've been studying this style for 30 years, and yeah, it's a combination of locks and giveaways and balancing. Arm wrestling things happen really quickly, very, very quickly, but it's a balancing act of all these different strengths.
So what is it about you that's able to keep competing at a very high level into your 50s?
I think...
is it this approach where you're just doing all these reps all day long? Do you think that's a big part of it?
Huge part of it.
Because you're constantly forcing your muscles to work, you're constantly getting blood flow, and you're not losing any strength.
Yeah.
As you get older.
It's a huge part of it. Yeah, my work volume probably exceeds most people in the sport with that. So metabolically and from a health perspective, it keeps my tendons and ligaments really functional. And you know, I'm just a very simple and obsessed person, and I arm wrestle at every opportunity.
Don't you also have some very freaky genetics?
Oh.
Like, didn't Ryan?
Yeah.
What is his last name?
Rossner. This guy's the best.
Very interesting guy.
Smartest person I know.
Geneticist, and he was explaining to me how unusual your genes are.
We all have unusual genes.
Yeah, but you have like really unusual genes.
Well, that topic is so big, you know, the genetic piece. I think that what a massive piece going forward for our species, you know, the mastery of genetics. It's right at the top, I think, of our highest priorities, you know.
There was a thing that they were talking about last night in the green room. See if you could find this. They think they might have figured out a way to end Down syndrome. They think they might have figured out a way with genetic engineering, with CRISPR or whatever they're using, whatever modalities they're using, to end Down syndrome.
Sure.
Which is wild.
I think that there's so many answers with genetics. You know, I personally believe that, and you know, this is a big topic with freedom and everything like that, but I really believe that when you're born, you should be swabbed, and it should accompany your health, you know, card or whatever, and just as a information. You know, there's so much.
Well, it probably will be in the future as all these techniques and all this new stuff comes out. CRISPR takes a bold leap towards silencing Down syndrome's extra chromosome. Wow. So scientists have taken an important step towards a gene therapy that could one day turn off the genetic material that causes Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a genetic condition caused by an extra chromosome 21 and consequently hundreds of triplicate genes that lead to developmental and neurological issues. According to Washington-based National Down Syndrome Society, 1 in every 640 babies in the United States is born with Down syndrome. That makes it the most common chromosomal condition.
When you're backed up and need relief that's fast and gentle, like this. Not like this. Mirafast works naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes.
Since the dawn of time, man has been plagued by itch and irritation from not wiping fully.
So what is it doing here? Okay, so Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center and Harvard Medical School found a way to silence much of the extra chromosome's activity in the cell at once. Details of their research are published in a paper in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Wow. So what is weird about your genes, though? Ryan told me, but I don't remember. He goes, you got to talk to him about his genes.
Well, Ryan's actually got to talk to. I mean, I'm a high school educated guy, and I've been down to Austin several times to hang out with Ryan. I absorb everything I can from this guy. But I think that my genetics, I think I'm predisposed to endurance, actually.
Endurance?
I think so. I think if you take an overall look at my genetics, I think I have a lot of, favorable mutations that are, predispose me to good, but it's weird. I don't know, man. Listen, the genetic side of things, I'll sound silly if I try and talk too much about it. I'll just tell you that there are favorable genetics for sure. There's favorable mutations. And it's amazing, if you could capture all of them from everybody and, put it together, and you never know what.
You'd get Brian Shaw.
We've scanned Brian. That's the thing. So this project that Ryan is doing, and I like to help him out a little bit. We've been looking at elite performers, and with the goal to find favorable mutations. And yeah, we scanned Brian.
He's
surprise.
in the Bible.
Yeah,
that guy's in the Bible.
Yeah,
he's like, David and Goliath.
Yeah,
they're real people out there like that.
Yeah. Brian.
So his genetics are 1 out of every 500 million people. Isn't it something crazy along those lines?
Yeah, he's completely he's right at the peak of human performance, right from a genetic standpoint.
Just freakish. Bone density,
everything. And it's not just his bone density, the dude's mindset. Like, there's many pieces of Brian's genetics that make him a champion. But yeah, he has some stuff in him that Ryan's never seen. Yeah, he had, and I probably shouldn't be speaking about other people's medical stuff, but I love Brian, and he can sue me if he wants. Nobody has his growth hormone. He has a different type of growth hormone.
What do you mean?
I don't think it's the same.
What?
I don't think he has this. We're opening something so cool because you talked about the Down syndrome, and there's some very interesting stuff with that. But yeah, Brian, I don't believe that Brian's growth hormone is the same as yours and mine.
What does that mean?
It might be molecularly different, or it might have. You're gonna have to talk to Ryan. But it's
growth hormone.
He has a mutation in his growth hormone.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, he's almost 7 feet tall and he's 400 pounds.
Yeah, and he doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. But it's weird, the whole Down syndrome thing. They can do stop codes. Like some genes, like some mutations that you get, from what I understand, there's a stop code on a gene. So whatever your gene is, when the mRNA lands on it and starts to do its thing, there can be a stop code or something that just stops that gene from expressing. And I think that's likely what they do with that. They'd somehow insert a stop code. But I mean, there's people out there who have world records, for things like deadlift, that don't have fast twitch muscle according to their genetics. So it's really weird.
What do you mean they don't have fast twitch muscle?
They have a stop code on their fast twitch genetics.
Just natural.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
They're just born weird.
Born super weird, yet they're capable of beating world records on the deadlift. So
wouldn't you think that deadlift isn't a fast twitch thing?
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
I don't either. It's an amazing field. Genetics is an amazing field.
Is that a lack of understanding of what fast twitch do, or is it they can compensate with the other muscles in some way?
I don't think it's other muscles, because I think that it would probably apply to all the musculature.
For such a long time.
So there's something that we don't understand. There's something weird going on. Eddie, you can sue me. Eddie Hall, I love you. I love you. Eddie's got a stop code.
In his genes.
On fast twitch muscle. Makes no sense.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense.
He moves so fast.
I know.
And he hits so fucking hard. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
I've seen that guy hit mitts, and you're like, Jesus
I know.
Christ.
I know.
Is this what the Hercules?
No,
gene? Not
no,
that.
no,
Something else?
no,
Okay.
no.
Oh, that's myostatin.
Yeah.
That's myostatin inhibitors.
Yeah.
So it regulates the production of myostatin, a protein that stops muscles from growing too large. So with myostatin inhibitors, they've done that with, I'm sure you've seen those whippets that
Yes,
have it.
of course.
So whippets are a weird dog. It's a very skinny, fast dog. And some whippets are born with this genetic mutation that's a myostatin inhibitor, and they look like the Hulk. It's the show an image of that, please. It is the craziest. That doesn't look like a real dog.
Right.
That doesn't look like a real dog. That's a crazy bodybuilder dog. Because if you see a regular whippet, show me a regular whippet now, please.
Yeah.
Regular whippets. That's a look at a regular whippet, like a real fast, like almost like a greyhound looking dog. And then you see the ones with the myostatin inhibitor gene, and you're like, what the hell is going on? They look like the most freakish bodybuilder of all time, but in a dog form. And some humans have that.
Belgian blues also. The Belgian
The cows.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And they have it too.
Yeah.
So they offer already genetic therapy that gives you follistatin. So there's a balance between follistatin and myostatin. From what I understand, like the key that turns on the cell for growth is follistatin. And myostatin tells the cell to stop growing. You're big enough.
Right.
Important. Very important.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have myostatin, all that turnkey gets is follistatin. So the only signal that you're ever getting with a myostatin deficiency is follistatin. And so, so they offer a genetic therapy that increases your follistatin.
They offer it to who?
For a legal hand to form your business, visit LegalZoom.
WGU is a nonprofit university trusted by employers nationwide. Our accredited online
Anybody,
Jamie's ready to get jacked.
anybody with enough money. Yeah. There's a bunch of genetic therapies that they've already created. Follistatin is one of them.
And so that would be for power lifters or football players or someone who just wanted to get fucking huge?
I think initially it was created for longevity because as you age, your follistatin drops, and that's why people get smaller, they shrink as they get older.
Right.
And follistatin just helps you maintain
muscle mass.
Yes. So it's I think it's mostly promoted as an anti-aging remedy, but absolutely, like you want to get your performance up, increase
They're
it.
doing so many wild things now.
Yeah.
They've got this new therapy now for people with disc degeneration. I'm sure you have it. I have it. A lot of people have it. Especially anybody who does jiu-jitsu has it. Your discs just get worn out from getting cranked on, and like heavy lifters always have it. Lower back issues. The disc is the soft cushion in between the spinal columns, and those big bones push down that disc, and over time and all that compression, it squashes. But now they've got stuff that they can inject into the disc that inflates the discs.
Yeah.
And so all these people that have been getting artificial discs and fusions and all the problems that come with that, because there's massive problems, they're going to be able to eliminate that, which is amazing.
Super cool.
Oh, so super cool. And I tell everybody, if you could avoid back surgery, please avoid back surgery. Don't fucking do it. There's a lot of different ways. Like, I always tell everybody, and I'll tell everybody again, Louis Simmons, his invention, that invention, the reverse hyper, fucking incredible. One of the greatest invention ever for people with lower back problems. I have one here in the studio. I have one at my house. I fucking swear by that machine. It's so good. It decompresses the spine on the decel, and on the uplift, when you're lifting up the weights, it strengthens the muscles out. It's like a perfect exercise for lower back issues.
Yeah, it's wild when we look at the future in terms of performance and how far the age is being pushed. Like, we see Crazy George, but I think I'm optimistic that all the ages are just going to be pushed and pushed until you're probably maybe not going to be a champion until you're 60.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy. Well, that's for arm wrestling.
Well,
I wonder what's going to happen with the thing with regular sports, the stuff that's pushing this stuff is performance-enhancing drugs. You know, peptides, stem cells, not really, that's not really performance-enhancing drug, but for injuries. But testosterone, all these different steroids, all these different things. The thing about like combat sports in particular is that you can't use those things. They're not allowed. But when you can use them, you see these older athletes that have the mind of an older athlete, but the body that works like a young guy.
Right.
My favorite example of that is Vitor Belfort when he was in his prime.
TRT Belfort. Yeah.
TRT Vitor was the scariest fucking guy ever.
Yeah.
Because he was jacked up with testosterone, but he was also 37 years old with a lifetime of combat sport experience, a lifetime of intelligence, but hadn't lost any speed, hadn't lost any strength, and in fact had like superhuman speed and strength. Because he was juicy, super juicy. But but it makes you think like, man, what would the sport look like if that was open to everybody?
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
It is interesting because there's a lot of guys that want to keep competing, but their body just doesn't respond the way it used to training because they're 37 or 38 or 39.
Yeah.
But if you can get them on the sauce.
Yeah. Right. Where's the limit?
Yeah.
Right.
And why not let them?
Absolutely. Why not? You know, I'm a big believer in tested sport. You know, I think that that's wonderful. And I think that that'll never go away. And I think it's important. But I'm also a believer in open up the gates and let everybody play.
Well, that's why I really love this whole idea of doing the enhanced games. It didn't really pan out the way everybody hoped. Nobody really won any records other than one guy in the swimming, but he wore a prohibited suit that lets you swim quicker, apparently. I don't understand swimming.
Yeah.
But I was hoping like you were going to see some freakish, superhuman performances. But I feel like if that's going to happen, that's going to take years. I don't think you would get the kind of gains that these people are hoping to get to achieve like world records, super freak human performance, unless you're doing that stuff for a long, like you know as well as anybody, that training takes forever. It takes to build strength, to build speed, to build endurance. It takes a long ass time. You think you're gonna get strength in 3 months? Like you get a little stronger
for sure,
but you're not gonna get freakish strength for fucking years. It takes years,
decades.
Like Juji Mufu. Like how long has that guy been lifting weights? That guy's a fucking freak.
Yeah, you can't build this stuff overnight.
And I bet he would melt a piss cup.
Listen, I think
not
that
a chance.
Juji, look at myself included. You know, I care about performance. This is what I care about, and so many people fall into the same boat.
Look at that guy. Hey, chance in hell that dude's natural.
You know, I'll tell you, Juji is probably
That's amazing though that he can do that. That kind of flexibility with that kind of mass is. Look at that. While overhead pressing, a full side squat or side split. That's nuts. On chairs. Jean-Claude Van Damme style.
Juji started out tricking. Okay.
What does that mean?
Like it's a form of.
That sounds like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he actually started off.
Sounds like he's picking up guys.
Yeah, no, Juji is super cool. It's like flipping.
Oh, he was on America's Got Talent?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
It's like a form of like acrobatics or gymnastics.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen him do acrobatic stuff, and it's really nuts.
Right.
Like his physical ability, like it defies what you expect from a guy with that kind of mass.
Right. Yeah. So he's a combined, like almost gymnast and bodybuilder, and he's probably better now than ever. And I think Juji's in his 40s.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's massive and healthy and, absolutely kicking ass. Probably the most positive human being that I've met.
Well, he seems super positive
He is.
in his YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And we have snorted his fucking smelling salts. Like,
it's strong.
He's got the best stuff.
He does.
We've snorted his stuff about 100 times on this show.
Yeah, actually.
Look at him doing flips.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy that a guy with that kind of mass can move like that.
Juji is actually the inspiration for this modern, this latest way that I'm training. It was actually...
Really?
Yeah. Juji came up to my place probably about a year and a half ago, and we were just redlining in our two-hand work, okay? And it was so good.
Two-hand work?
Yeah, so I would be considered like the senior guy in my club. Okay, so, and we have this kind of rule in the clubs to make things work properly. Senior holds, junior works. Okay, so the senior is kind of staying with you, floating with you, and the junior is able to control their intensity. So the guy who would normally win the match doesn't win.
You're just holding him in place. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, like defense work in jiu-jitsu.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, but just to help out that guy, typically will do two-arm work. Okay, to kind of flip the script for him, so somebody can hold like me with two arms and kind of let me get to red line. Yeah. So Juji and I were doing that like a year and a half ago, and it was so good, and it was so much fun. I was like, what am I doing? You know, having anything kind of cut into this. And that's when I stopped doing heavy lifting. It was as a result of training with Juji.
So this two-arm work of just holding and just work on that, you feel is more important than all the lifting and all the other stuff?
Yeah.
Because it's sport specific? And does he arm wrestle?
He does, a little bit. Juji knows everything.
But why did you working with him make you train?
Juji's a special guy. I think that just, you don't have to be the best in your field. If you have a certain energy or certain thing with you, Juji is a wonderful, creative, hard-working guy. And when you get a chance to train with him, it doesn't matter that his skill level, it's just his level of energy is so good that when we work together, it helps me. I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but he unlocked this understanding of the priority of that training for me. I've always done it, but never.
But how did he unlock it? I'm not getting it.
I think that our training session. Okay. So what happened was Juji came over, and I normally on days that I do table work, I do not hit the gym. Okay, because I don't want anything to kind of impact my table work. And because I only had a day with Juji, I wanted to show him how I was training. And at the time, I was training very heavy. So we did this circuit. I showed him all my latest exercises that I was prioritizing. And then we went to the club that night. And we had this awesome two-arm work. But I felt as though, you know, the singles and everything that I'd done earlier in the day had a slight effect. I was like, I can't ever let that happen again. I need to make sure I put all my energy into this table training. And it's funny, you know, being 51 and having over 30 years competitively in the sport, I still feel like I learn. You know, I still feel like I change things from event to event. Yeah.
Well, that's a sign you're doing something fun.
Yeah,
right?
That's
If
the
you
key.
Continue to get better at it and continue to grow at it.
Key to life.
So just the one training session with him changed your perspective on that because you just weren't performing as well?
That was a tipping point. For me. So I generally have a protocol, like a training kind of balance, a recipe that I'm going to follow pretty much from event to event.
And this is all made by you?
It's made by me, and I watch everything. You know, I love arm wrestling, but I'm looking at sports. I'm always trying to get better. So yeah, it's my protocol that I come up with, and then I'll tweak it based off of my results. Okay, so if I'm doing good, not much changes. If I don't do as good as I think I should do, or there's like something, I'll tweak it from event to event. And yeah, and that night was the night that I decided I need to get rid of heavy weights because this is so good. This training is so good when done properly. And that's the key, when done properly. Like two-arm work can suck. Like if you do two-arm work wrong, it can hurt you, it can set you back. But when done properly, it's the best training that there can be. Yeah.
Specifically for
super
arm
specific.
wrestling. And do you do stuff that's not specific for arm wrestling, just for overall body strength? Like, do you feel like there's a balance to be achieved?
This is the greatest criticism that I always receive as an athlete, because I don't really.
Just arm wrestling stuff.
I go for walks.
That's it?
Oh, terrible.
At Cox, your internet and mobile price won't change for 5 years. From 5 Halloweens to 5 4th of Julys. Same price, guaranteed. Cox, a step ahead. Requires 2 gig speeds and gig unlimited mobile. Taxes and fees excluded from price lock. Mobile data speeds reduced after 20 gigs.
Really? No lunges? No leg curls?
I'm trying a little bit to work it back in some minimal way. But it's interesting, you know, cross-training versus specialization. I have a long background in very broad training, okay? Like I once upon a time was a fit human being in many aspects, but I really care about being a champ, you know? And I could probably be a healthier guy and be able to run and squat and deadlift, or I can be a little bit of a cripple and be pulling for world title shots is the way I kind of look at it, and I chose that.
Wow.
I should do more squats.
Well, my only thought would be that if you conditioned and strengthened your overall body, it would just help your overall strength.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the thought about deadlifting and squatting, is that it helps everything.
Yeah.
Because your whole body just becomes stronger. And it would just naturally, like your base, everything, your core, everything would just be much more, your foundation would be stronger.
I hear you.
But I don't know. I'm not an arm wrestler.
I don't know either. Okay, everything. I'm playing with everything.
Mhm.
This is constantly what pretty much every reasonable person tells me, and I am like, I get to a point where I do my arm wrestling work, and I'm like, okay, here I am. If I want to beat Levon, what do I do from here? And I'm like, more wrist curls. You know, look at my.
What does he do?
He's a bit more balanced than me. Levon lifts super heavy weights, like stupid.
What does this dude looks like? Show me Levon. What is his last name?
Saganishvili.
Whoa.
This is the
crazy name.
pinnacle of our sport. Okay, this is the guy.
How big is this dude?
He gets about 420. Yeah.
Oh my God!
I love this guy.
Look at the size of this motherfucker. Holy
this
shit!
is yeah.
That can't be real.
No,
is that AI? Is that picture AI?
No,
that one right there.
Okay, that's real.
Oh my!
This is
God.
real. This is real.
I don't know, Jamie. That might be real. He might just be pumped.
Levon is the pinnacle. Okay, we scanned him too, and surprise, he's a weirdo also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
Look at the size of that motherfucker.
He's in Little Rock in 2 days.
In Little Rock, Arkansas?
Yeah.
Where does he live right now?
Georgia.
Georgia, the country.
There's so many weirdos that come from Georgia.
Really?
Yeah. Proportionately, their strength is not normal. Levon is, nobody has beat this guy since 2017. He has absolutely flattened the field, okay? Like,
he's so hairy too.
Oh.
He looks like a primitive man. He looks like a science project. Look at the fucking size of that guy. Oh my God.
Smart guy. Cool.
I bet.
Very cool guy. I absolutely love Levon. He has beaten the piss out of me at every opportunity.
Boy, he's so big.
Yeah,
dude.
he is. He is so big, and he's so good. He's like, he grew up in the trenches arm wrestling. Okay, he's not one of these guys who came in. He made his way through the world championships. Yeah, he hasn't lost in 10 years, man.
And so does he do different stuff than you do?
He does. A lot of the guys have different formulas. Okay, Levon does a lot of pull-ups, really heavy ones, and he does a lot of really heavy curls. This is the base, but he does all the same. Like, we do all the same exercises, just different formulas.
Now, when you hear the best guy is doing things different than you,
yeah,
what keeps you from doing what he does?
So we are all different,
right? That's what he used to look like. That's crazy. Shout out to steroids. Shout out to all the scientists out there.
He's very young in that first photo.
Oh, of course.
You know, he slowly evolved through the world championships to what he is today. Yeah, it's interesting when you see different champions, and I try and learn from everybody. I watch what everybody does. I see what they're doing. You have to also consider where your body's at. Okay, I can't do the things I did when I was 25.
Physical.
I just can't. I have, like I said, I've had surgeries.
But yet you can still arm wrestle.
Yeah.
So